I've heard a lot of people say that healing is not linear, and it's okay to miss things and wish things were not the way that they were. It is an interesting thing to be so grateful for life and also to be a little sad. This video is going to be a little bit different from the videos that I've been posting recently, but it's about something that has been weighing heavily on my heart and mind lately, and so it's something that I want to give a voice to. This is more for me than it is for the entertainment value of any of you, although I always hope that by sharing my life and my journey, someone who is struggling or looking for some kind of something will find it in one of my videos and it will help them. My hope is always to be of a service and help more than anything else. But all of that said, if you're newer here, then you might not know that in January of 2020, I was attacked and almost killed by a dog that we had. Just to throw some quick statistics at you, there are approximately 4.5 million dog attacks every single year in the United States. And of those, 800,000 require some type of medical attention. To simplify that a little bit further, about 1 in 77 people will be attacked by a dog. And to kind of put that in perspective, you're much more likely to be in a car accident than you are to be attacked and bitten by a dog. But nevertheless, in 2020, I ended up being one of those 77. And since that happened, I've tried to be open and transparent about everything that happened and my journey towards healing since then, both physically and mentally. That is a journey that is by no means over, and will not be for the rest of my life. I wanted to do that because since going through that experience, I have learned that there are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of blame that is placed on victims when dog attacks happen. I have been on the receiving end of some of it, and I have seen it within the support communities that I put myself in following all of that. So I wanted to be open about what happened in the hopes that I could not only help educate people and bring some awareness to this issue, but also to give hope to other people who have been attacked so that they can see that following something traumatic like that, there is hope and there is a path to healing, and it's not the end of everything. All of that said, because of this platform that I am on and my presence on Instagram, everything is very image based. You can't really escape that no matter how much you want to, unless you're just not going to ever show your face. People are going to see it, and I am going to see my own face. I see my face for hundreds of hours every single week through editing all of the footage and looking in the mirror. I am repeatedly presented with reminders of what happened to me, no matter how subtle they may be. And I want to make sure that I stress and say that I do not hate my face. I wouldn't even take back what happened to me if I had the power to do so, because I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason and that adversities are placed upon us for us to learn and grow. And I am not a believer in being a victim to circumstance. I am a believer in using the things that happen to us to grow and to help create a better world. But I think more than some people, I have a very visual timeline of how I have looked throughout the last several years, because I have been on this platform now for some time. And over time, as I have addressed the areas where I have needed care and I have worked to find healing and peace, I have repeatedly and continuously been unable to escape one very simple fact, which is that in no small way, regardless of everything that I just said, I miss my face. I miss the way that it looked before I was attacked. I look back at videos of myself that I filmed in the first year and a half of being on this platform, and I remember that there were things about myself that I critiqued and nitpicked and didn't like. And looking back now, I cannot for the life of me remember what any of those were, because I'm in an interesting situation where I can see both sides. And looking back now, I realize that there was nothing wrong with my face, ever. It was perfectly fine. And aside from scars and nerve damage, there's nothing wrong with my face now, but it's different. And it will never 100% be the same face that I had before. And I know maybe it sounds like a very self-centered thing, a very vain thing to say that I miss the way that I looked before. But whether we like it or not, the way that we look is how we present ourselves to the world. It's how people see us and recognize us, and it's also how we recognize ourselves within the world that we live in. And I know that most people don't look at me and see any real drastic change. Even in myself, I don't always see it. But it's still there, and it's still in the back of my mind, and I still know that it's there, and it's still something that I think about. I would be lying if I didn't admit that there is a small part of me that wishes that I could have the face that I used to have before. I don't want to take back anything that happened. So I know that that sounds like a contradiction, because obviously I can't have both things. I can't have an experience and not have the ramifications of that experience within myself. It's a weird juxtaposition to find yourself in, but it's how I feel. And I have been trying to work through it and understand it and acknowledge it and recognize that there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. I can recognize that I am a survivor, and I can be proud of my scars while also still acknowledging that I wish it could be just a little different. I've heard a lot of people say that healing is not linear, and I 100% agree with that. This is a chapter and a stepping stone in my journey towards healing, whatever that ultimately looks like for me. And I want to acknowledge that and give that some space. It's really important, I've learned, to acknowledge how you are feeling and give it a voice when it needs it, because by doing so, you pay a little bit of homage to yourself and what you've been through. and that's important too. I have a really, really, really good life. And even though I have this feeling and this longing in a way for a piece of how things used to be, everything that I've been through, especially in this particular case, has made me very, very thankful for life. And there are so many times where I'm just taken aback by how wonderful life is and how happy I am to be here to live it, and how thankful I am to still be here, because it could have very easily gone a different way and I wouldn't be. But because I am, I feel like that is significant and it means something. If I wasn't meant to be here, I wouldn't be here. I'm very thankful for it and I don't want to take it for granted. And so I try to approach every single day with the mindset of gratitude and joy for this life and the experiences that I'm able to have and the people that I'm able to interact with, because I think all of it means something. I don't know if that makes sense. It is an interesting thing to be so grateful for life and also to be a little sad. It's this bittersweet sensation that I'm still trying to get used to. Even after a year and a half, I'm still trying to understand that feeling and how to address it and deal with it. I miss my face. I wish I could have it back. I feel self-conscious of my scars, and regardless of whether or not anyone on the outside notices the way that I look, I notice. And I am reminded of what happened every single time I look in a mirror, every single time I get on camera, every single time I post a photo on Instagram, every single time I smile. I don't have a grand conclusion to all of this. I don't have anything deep and profound to leave you with. I felt that for myself, I wanted to say this. I hope that if you're watching this and you've been through something similar, maybe it will remind you to give yourself a little bit of grace in your healing. And to remember that it's not simple, it's not clean all of the time, and that that's okay. And it's okay to miss things and wish things were not the way that they were, while still being very proud of everything that you've overcome.